even though there's a Shia-dominated government running Iraq, they'll never have unity whatsoever without the Sunnis being a part of it. And to gain their loyalty and to gain their commitment is very important for the Abadi government to demonstrate to the Sunnis that they are going to take back their provincial capital. And hopefully, as a result of that, more Sunni tribes will participate in the campaign going forward.
There is an all-out effort to re-win Ramadi back from ISIS, been held by ISIS since May. Let's talk about it with our panel. Charles, how much of a win would it be for the Iraqi forces to take control here, and how much of a loss for ISIS in the bigger PR battle?
It's a loss for ISIS, like the loss of Sinjar, like the loss of Tikrit. It would show a reversal of momentum, and in that sense, it's good. But the question is, who is it a gain for? And that's what General Keane is talking about. The fact is that we, the Americans, have tried to prevent the Iraqi government from allowing the Shiite militias, who are extremely brutal, rough, and anti-Sunni, to go into Ramadi, which is the capital of Anbar, which is Sunni. We have tried to keep them out. We have been supporting elements in the Iraqi army who are Sunni or tribesmen. And they have to inherit the city, they have to be given control. If that happens, then we can begin the possibility, this is a long shot, to rekindle the alliance that David Petraeus had managed during the surge, which destroyed al-Qaeda in Iraq and which helped to stabilize Iraq, which is to bring the Sunnis into reconciliation and into the central government. So this is a test. Not only will ISIS lose, but it's a test whether the Iraqi government, which is under the thumb of the Iranians, abandoned by Obama in 2011, will allow the Sunnis to retake Ramadi and keep it. And that, I think, is the most important issue on the table, and we don't know the answer yet.
Yeah, ABU, we're asking groups that have some things in common, but a lot of things that they do fight about, to come together to make this win. And as Charles said, I mean, you know, there are so many different complications with this.
That's why it's so complicated. When they say they're going to clear it in 72 hours, we can be hopeful, but it was just in May when General Dempsey said they were not driven out of Ramadi, they drove away. For them to try to come back, and they've made progress, it is serious, substantial progress for the Iraqi forces to have done this, but that they did it without the Shiite militias, that they tried to do it on their own without the influence of Iran. Does that kind of effort, there's no guarantee it's successful, and that it can be replicated and duplicated, and it can happen again and again. This, when you look at Iraq, it's even more complicated in Syria. So as we watch them use ground forces in what is a battle on the ground, it just shows how hard it's going to be for us to find less complicated partners in both places to have a sustained effort against territory that ISIS has taken.
And to the point about Shiite militias, they say that their role is being overlooked. A spokesman for some of them today was quoted as saying, "Today, Washington comes along to steal the victory." Steve?
Yeah, and I'm not sure I disagree with them, to be honest. I mean, there's been some questions raised by military intelligence analysts about the extent of the involvement of the Shiite militias. Is it the case that the Iraqi government is calling this regular Iraqi forces when, in fact, Shiite militias have had more involvement than they want, because they know that there's a PR value for saying, no, this is the regular Iraqi forces? On the one hand, you're encouraged because there's at least an acknowledgement that the Sunnis need to feel better about this. On the other hand, if they're not being honest about it, and it is in fact Shiites, it might fool people here in Washington, or it might convince people at 1600 Pennsylvania who want to believe that. But if it's not true, the Iraqis are going to know that it's not true, and I'm afraid there are indications that it's not true.
And if it's not true, we're going to know. Because in the end, if you put Shiite militias in Ramadi, which is the heart of Anbar, which is Sunni, it's not going to work. They will ultimately be expelled. The civil war will resume in Ramadi, and we'll know it. So it's going to be an eventuality that's going to be obvious, and we're going to see it.
And AB, even if they are able to pull this off quickly, still a long way to go to rout ISIS.
Well, you have to look at what's going on in Syria. It's not just in Iraq. It's another problem, and possibly worse.
Yeah, and as you said, even more complex there. All right. Thank you, panel.